It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. We welcome to our newsmaker line right now our good friend, the former Metro Nashville Public School Board member, Fran Bush. Good morning, Fran.
Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm glad to have you on here. Now, you represented, did you represent the area in which the Antioch High School, where the shooting took place last week? Did you represent that area?
Yes, that was my district, Antioch and Cane Ridge.
So you're very familiar with this. And, of course, for our listeners, last week, 17-year-old Solomon Henderson, who apparently purported to be, according to some documents that have not been authenticated, purported to be something called a Black Hebrew Israelite, had a pistol, went into the cafeteria of the Antioch High School and shot and killed a 16-year-old Hispanic girl, wounded one other, and then killed himself. Fran, you have been a critic of the Metro Nashville Public School Director, Adrian Battle, for some time. One of the things that I don't know is I heard a report that there was a metal detector system placed in the school during COVID, paid for by federal funds, and at some point, Adrian Battle, the director, called for the removal of those metal detectors. Do you know if that was true or not?
I'm not sure about the recall of the detectors. I do know that they were removed. Not sure why. A young lady that passed, her name is Jocelyn, and it has been a very much emotional time for the community. And as you know, the students that had to witness this horrific, crime. So Dr. Battle is, yes, she has been put up on a lot of pressure to do more than what she has done when it comes to school safety. Before I left the board, that was one of the things I pushed for. I pushed for school safety, metal detectors in all schools, SROs in elementary schools, and also the ballistic glass film to be placed on the bottom of school buildings. All of that was ignored, and I knew one day, God forbid, that this was going to be a tragic situation, and it has. And this is what the results are when you don't listen when it comes to our children and school safety.
But you can confirm that there were metal detectors there at some point and that they were removed at some point? From
the news and from information that has been received by the media, that it has been confirmed that there were metal detectors there and they were removed.
Interesting. Now, you you've been a guest on our program many times, and I've said publicly that you were the only sane member of the 9-member Metro School Board, and that they picked Adrian Battle, who also is not competent in my view. You served on the school board for some time. You were constantly on the side of common sense versus the side of lack of common sense. Describe a little bit of that conflict that you had with Adrian Battle while you were on the board.
Yeah, so, once she was hired by the time when I was on the school board, I did start to see a lot of her lack of common sense on a lot of our place procedures and policies being put in place. It was very frustrating to see that. And yes, to your point, I was the only school board that always fought for common sense policies. And it just, it's for Adrian Battle, it's almost like if it's not her way or it is not her idea, then it does not get done. And to your point, the board is also responsible for this behavior because they allow her to make these type of decisions. And everyone under the sound of my voice, the board members are the ones that hire their one employee, and she or he is expected to carry out the duties of the district, and this is another failure on the board for the school board.
I've heard reports that a number of Antioch High School students, I guess there are 2,100 kids there in the high school? Yes. That's a pretty big high school. I've heard reports that that a number of students now are going to be protesting for more safety, and they're going to go to the Metro Nashville Public School Board for that purpose. Have you heard that? And what exactly are they asking for?
So from my understanding, the students have coordinated a rally at the legislation at Capitol Hill. About, I think 1:30 today, and wanting their lawmakers to hear them about gun control, just hearing their voice, and they have coordinated this rally for this afternoon.
At 1:30 this afternoon, you mentioned. So when I first saw it, the students were going to be rallying in front of the Metro School Board, asking the school board to make them safe. But I guess what you're saying now is at 1:30 this afternoon, they're going to be rallying for gun control. That sounds to me like a solution that doesn't make a lot of sense for the problem that they saw last week. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think what's happening with our students, they have so much trauma going on right now, and they just want to see change.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just trying to figure out a way to do that. And to your point, unfortunately, with gun control, we are a country that, you can bear arms. And unfortunately, anybody can get their hands on guns, right? So I think what they're trying to do, of course, is trying to reach out and cry out for help. And I think what our next plan is to get these metal detectors in the schools, have a safety plan in place so these students can go back to school and feel safe, because right now they're frustrated because there's still not a plan.
Do you think that with these events that it represents for you perhaps another opportunity or another calling to get back in public life and to consider running for the school board again from the very same district you represented previously in Antioch?
Well, Mike, I don't know. I'm just, I'm still involved in the community. I still do a lot of great things there. I've been asked to be the beautification commissioner in our community, just to kind of stay in that, in the presence. But I never stop with my voice because, of course, the line of work I do is in child care and education. So I never went away. I just wanted the next elected official to do her job. And, and this is what we do, right? Once we're not there anymore, we hope the next person do the job. So haven't decided yet on my future, but I'm still here. And I want to make sure that this is carried out.
Fran Bush, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. Appreciate all your service on the Metro Nashville Public Schools. And once again, you were the only sane person on that 9-member board, and you were the only person we could actually carry on a conversation with. So thanks for all of your work when you were on the Metro Nashville Public School Board.
And thank you, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you and your audience. Thanks again, Mike.
All right, thanks, Fran. Well, there you go. Fran Bush confirming that indeed there had been metal detectors at Antioch High School and that they were removed by the superintendent of schools, the director of public schools here, Adrian Battle, for reasons no one understands. And we had, through other reports, a report that on Friday they were installing metal detectors. Now, I don't understand why a high school like that, 2,100 kids, and apparently the demographics are like 50% Hispanic, 45% Black, 5% other, in a relatively low to middle income area with a huge history of troubled student activities. It makes no sense, in my view, that they did not have a robust security plan, which would have included those metal detectors. That doesn't make any sense at all. When we come back, we'll have more about what's going on here in Tennessee as we speak. The Tennessee General Assembly special session convening to consider school choice. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Back after this.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul-off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. It's Monday, January 27th, 2025. I love saying 2025 because we have President Donald J. Trump. Our number here, if you'd like to call in, 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. You can read all about our stories at TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Michael P. Leahy. That's Michael P. Leahy. Okay. Today, as we speak, just a stone's throw from our studios here in downtown Nashville, the Tennessee General Assembly is convening at the state capitol, and they are considering three general areas of legislation that Governor Bill Lee has called for. Number one, universal school choice. Number two is flood relief for those who were in the disastrous flood in East Tennessee. And then number three, any help for immigration to help President Trump's plan to remove illegal immigrants from the United States. So it's a busy agenda for what's supposed to be 5 or 6 days. Both the Tennessee State Senate and the Tennessee State House have before them the same universal school choice bill that provides a $7,000 scholarship. They call it Education Freedom Scholarship for 20,000 Tennesseans. That's, by the way, Tennessee kids that are currently either go to public school or go to private school. But what's interesting about that, there are 1 million kids right now in Tennessee public schools. This is a common sense thing. This is something that President Trump supports. All Heritage Foundation supports it. All conservatives support it. And yet, here in Tennessee, you have, I would call them the phony conservative, the woke right, the grifter class that are opposing it. And the Tennessee Stands is one group that's opposing it. A few others. Mostly they're aligning with the Democratic National Committee, and they're aligning with the left who oppose it purely because they don't want competition in education. And there are a number of legislators in some areas that are in rural areas that want to keep the local monopoly of public schools and public teachers unions and school superintendents in place, One of whom, Jody Barrett, who's from Middle Tennessee. Dixon, I think is where he's from. He's a state legislator, a Republican. This is the guy who we've had on several times, who turned out to be a complete and total disaster. He's the one who made the bad choice on the Gloria Johnson ejection because he basically wanted to show off that he was smarter than everybody else. He's got very bad reasons that he's opposing this bill, but he's been out opposing it, as have a number of others who are in Todd Warner, for instance, who represents me in Williamson County and Marshall County and Murray County. He's opposed to it. But I think right now we've got a reasonable likelihood that this bill will pass. But we'll keep you posted on that. Tomorrow, I think we'll have an interview with Speaker of the House, Cam Sexton, who's a big supporter of it. All right, so that's going on right now here in Tennessee. I want to get back to a little bit what's going on with illegal immigration and the Catholic charities pushing for resistance to ICE and removal of illegal aliens. J.D. Vance was on, I think, Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan, and he took on the Catholic Bishop Conference on this topic. Here we go, clip 10.
Let me just address this particular issue, Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We're going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people. Yeah. Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You personally
let them talk about
going
people like Laken Riley who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe.
That makes sense. Okay, speaking of that, Dr. Phil, who's now launched this kind of conservative news outlet called Merit TV, he was in Chicago with Tom Homan, and they rounded up a bunch of illegal alien criminals, and we have a clip of them after the roundup, clip 15, Dr. Phil and Tom Homan in Chicago last night.
Wonder where they go, who picks them up. This is who picks them up. This is who lures them out on the internet, and they disappear, or they get raped, and their life's changed forever, and he shouldn't even be here, but he's doing this. But they don't raise their hand and say, hey, there's somebody that doesn't even have the right to be here that's preying upon our children, and they don't tell you about it.
Exactly, and this Governor Pritzker, and the mayor, they want to vilify the men and women of ICE. ICE saved children today. ICE saved children today. And it makes me angry. Governor Pritzker the other day went on the internet, social media, saying ICE was attacking our elementary school. He's scaring children. He's scaring the neighborhood, putting fear in the community. We're doing the exact opposite. We're saving children. Every sexual predator we arrest means more safe children. So God bless the men and women of ICE. As you've seen today, we're not sweeping neighborhoods. This is a target enforcement operation. We spend a lot of time investigating these people. We know exactly who we're looking for. So it's a target enforcement operation. It's the right thing to do.
Well, let's talk about how methodical this was, because you guys had this man, this monster on the list, and they've been sitting on this guy for 2 or 3 days to try to get where he was and his pattern, and you were actually able to ping his cell phone and get him on the move so he could be picked up on the street, rather than if he got to his dwelling, wherever that is, and got behind a closed door, then he could have sat there and you didn't have the right to go in and get him if he sits behind that door, right?
Not without a criminal arrest warrant, but that's exactly the point. He could have been arrested at a county jail, in the safety and security county jail, by one officer.
Right.
But we spent hundreds of hours to investigate him, try to find out where he is, and we did find him. It takes a whole team for officer safety to arrest him. Right. It's not efficient. We could arrest many more criminals if you let us in the jail.
Okay, let's pause here. He's talking about in Chicago, which has a crazy Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson, who says, no, you can't come in here and you can't take any of these criminals away, and a Governor J.B. Pritzker, a billionaire Democrat, who's saying the same thing. What he's pointing out is something relevant here in Nashville, and that is if you have an illegal alien criminal in jail, that criminal should be, when released, should be released to ICE and then deported. But all across the country, what we're seeing is something quite different. We are, in fact, seeing that these Democrats are basically saying, no, we are not going to comply with the law. We're not going to do that. And that's one of the reasons here in Nashville, we have on Friday, we're going to get a report from the Tennessee District Attorney General Conference. That's all district attorneys in the state, a listing of how many illegal aliens right now are in either jail or in the legal process. And once we have that number and the names, we should be able to have ICE go in, pick them up, and deport them. We want to know what that number is. I don't know exactly what it is. It's more than it should be. Is it the 1/3 that Todd Warner said it was in Williamson County? Probably not, but we'll see. We'll find out on Friday. When we come back, Todd Bensman with the Center for Immigration Studies will give us an update on where all of this stuff is right now on illegal immigration. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Back after this.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back. We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by our very good friend, Todd Bensman, with the Center for Immigration Studies. Todd, this is the first time we've had a chance to speak since Donald Trump became the 47th president of the United States. Are you noticing anything different out there in the area of illegal immigration?
Well, the numbers coming across illegally are under 500 a day. We haven't seen that in years and years. That's historic. And that's after the cancellation of these bogus humanitarian parole programs. Everybody said that, if we stop flying them over the border and walking them across the land ports between Mexico and the U.S., that they would just start crossing it legally. And that doesn't seem to be happening either. They seem to be going home or staying in place for years in Mexico.
Well, that's good news. Now, yesterday, while the rest of the country was watching football and Donald Trump was playing golf, this little drama with Colombia played out. And in the end, Colombia has decided they've reversed course and they're going to accept apparently all military aircraft delivering illegal aliens deported. Did you watch that little drama play out, and what was your reaction to it?
I watched it very closely. This was incredibly fascinating to me because Colombia tried Donald Trump. We're not going to take your deportees by air. And Trump responded, of course, as we know, with great muscularity, as we assumed he would, and said, "Oh, that's too bad because we're going to ruin your economy now. We'll do 25% trade tariffs today, and a week from now it'll go to 50%. And after 50%, who knows? Sky's the limit." So not only that, but they moved to cancel, and they were serious about it, all of the visas into the visitors visas into the U.S., diplomatic visas too, of the top Colombian leadership. And of course, those guys love to come to the United States. That's one of their all-time favorite things. They shop, they hang out, and they like to visit the United States. And boy, that really hit them where it hurt. And all the party members for Gustavo Petro's far left-wing socialist communist party. So, that pretty much ended that. And he put himself out there as an example of a punching bag for any other country in the world that refuses to take back our deportees. They're all going to take them back, or they're all going to be in smoking ruins.
That's a great way to put it, Todd. Now, I saw, and these Central American countries better than anyone. We're working with El Salvador. The president there is very, very eager to work with us, and he's aligned with Donald Trump. But the president of Honduras apparently also has kind of said, "I don't want to take these deportees back." Have you followed that? Where is that? Was that before or after the Colombian debacle?
That was before, and my answer to that is one word: Colombia. Good luck, guys. Because there's a new sheriff in town who just doesn't, he's kind of trigger happy.
The New York Post had a great headline. They didn't say new sheriff in town. They said new tariff in town, but it was funny. And I sort of made the point, didn't it?
That is clever.
Now, Tammy Bruce, our friend Tammy Bruce, is the Director of Communications, the Public Affairs spokesperson for Secretary of State Marco Rubio. There had been a report, which it turned out to be a false report, that Mexico wasn't taking deported illegals, but apparently they are. Do you have any details on that story?
Well, we know that the government of Claudia Sheinbaum, far left-wing government, very pro migration, as long as they're moving through her country and out into ours, very pro humanitarian on that. but not so humanitarian when it comes to them getting stuck with the hot potato.
Mm-hmm.
So initially they were making noises about, oh, we're only going to take our own Mexican people back. And Trump said, no, you're going to take everybody back that we give you. And so that's that.
What's next? What do you see going forward in terms of Trump dealing with the illegal immigration problem?
Well, these are very important moves, early moves. I mean, you've got to draw your red lines. You got to tell countries that you're going to be taking. Remember, we've had people from 180 different countries cross our border for the last 4 years, 75,000 Chinese. And for our deportation program, as it ramps up, it's going to be a slow ramp up because we have to rebuild the infrastructure to do it and get the airplanes and all the rest. We're going to need those countries to all be very agreeable about our returns on military aircraft or whatever. And by the way, I'll just say that I've flown on those cargo planes. I'd much rather fly on one of those cargo planes than Spirit Airlines. Just saying.
Now that's funny.
Yeah, I hope they're not one of your advertisers, but
no, they're not. They're not.
In any case, it's not so bad. I'm sorry, it's not undignified to fly on a car. Our soldiers do it all the time, but whatever. So we need to. This was important because we have to have all of these countries around the world in Africa and Asia get ready to take our transports. And I think that's accomplished now with Colombia. Thank you, President Petro.
Gustavo Petro. Now one of his first response was saying, "Well, I'm going to send you can't land your military plane in Haiti, in Colombia. I'm going to send my plane up so they can come back in a dignified manner." And I thought, well, that's bizarre. These are a bunch of illegal alien criminals. You want to have like an honor guard for them? This Gustavo Petro guy seems very, very weird. And he caved. I mean, he caved in spectacular fashion. Is this going to hurt his ability to maintain his own government?
If he would have persisted in the course he was taking, he would have been out. He's already unpopular, deeply unpopular in Colombia. Something like this, he'd be overthrown. He'd be tossed out of office. He probably knew he had about a couple of days to back out of that. And by the way, he offered to, throw his presidential jet into the fray to let us use. And I think Trump should absolutely insist on taking that jet and use it. I hope Trump does.
So in other words, yeah, just give us your jet and then we'll use that to transport. Our people will use your jet to transport these deportees back to Colombia. That's a great idea, Todd.
Yeah. So,
Todd,
as far as upcoming, we started the deportations in the interior. Tom Homan was in Chicago yesterday. I think he may still be there. They were in Boston. They're in blue cities. They're starting it out in blue cities, and they're having some luck in the interior. They're pulling, the worst of the first of the worst. But people should understand that, this is going to ramp up over time. The numbers they're not that, they don't seem that impressive, and they won't for a little while because we have to rebuild the infrastructure. We lost about 1,000 ICE agents who were demoralized for being chained to their desk during the Biden administration, and the number's down to like 5,000. So they need to have probably 10,000 to be able to do this. And in the meantime, they're pulling DEA agents and HSI agents and the military down on the border so that they can put Border Patrol into it. And they're really just having to beg and borrow from Peter to pay Paul. and they've got to get detention facilities up and running. The Biden administration closed every family detention facility in America and shut down all the private contracts for private detention facilities and deals with county sheriff jails and all of that. So they have to
rebuild all that.
Got to restore all that, and it's going to take a little while.
Is morale among ICE agents back up?
I've heard it's soaring. I mean, this is like, I mean, imagine a Navy SEAL team training for war, and finally the war comes along, and you have to guard the cafeteria in the back,
yeah,
in the
really.
rear. For that's what these guys are. This is what they do. They're trained ERO guys, detention and removal officers, agents.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they do, and now they get to finally do it, and they're running all around the town doing it, and all around the country doing it, and they're going to be doing it. Just get used to it. This is the first few seconds of the first round of a very long bout,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to go on for years. You're going to see ICE agents and raids 7 days a week all over the country for the next 4 years.
Music to my ears. Music to my ears, Todd. Hey, Todd, I saw this report. I don't know if you saw. I think it was some report about some developer in a border city in Texas has put together a big development for illegals, and that's about to be, I guess, raided. But have you followed that at all? I think.
Yeah, I'm the one that broke that into the national news.
Oh, then of course you are. What's going
on
with
that? Far from where I live, I've flown over it and videoed it, and been on the ground, and I wrote a whole chapter of my book Overrun dedicated to that community out there. It's probably the largest.
The developer, I mean, he has these like houses for illegals. Is that what did I get that right?
Yes, he markets to illegal immigrants.
Is that legal?
To buy property. Yes, it's legal.
It is legal. Huh.
He's doing direct loans out of his own pocket to illegal immigrants who can't get conventional bank loans because they're illegal. They don't have the documentation. So he's made it possible to borrow from him at exorbitant interest rates. 9, 10, 13, 14, 15% interest rates on these loans. And of course, if you default even by a month or two, they take it back and resell it. And there's this churn. Now, the Biden administration's, what do they call it? CBO. What's it?
Congressional Budget Office?
Consumer Bureau Protection.
CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You caught me off guard with this.
No, that's all right.
They were mad about it.
Huh.
And they filed a major piece of civil litigation against that developer seeking to bankrupt him.
We'll see how it turns out. Todd Bensman, great reporting as always. I learned something new every time you're on. How happy are you with the turn of events in this past week?
Well, I'm very optimistic.
That's a good way to put it.
That the greatest mass migration crisis in U.S. history is over. The administration, I mean, I've often said, I may have even said it on your program, go look, that, it would take approximately 1 hour to end this thing.
And it's happened now. Todd Bensman, thanks for joining us, Center for Immigration Studies. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Back after this.
Hey, I'm Governor Bill Lee, and I want to talk to you about an important education bill in Tennessee. Everyone knows that education has the power to change the trajectory of a child's life forever. And anyone who's raised a child knows that each one's different in their educational needs, and their learning styles, and their talents. The fact is, parents know their own children best. They know what's best for their education and their future. That's why I'm here to talk to you about Tennessee's Education Freedom Act. It empowers parents across our state to use their tax dollars to choose the school that allows their child to thrive, regardless of zip code or income, all while making significant investments in Tennessee's public education. If you want to learn how you can help make the Education Freedom Act a reality in Tennessee, go to educationfreedomact.com and write or call your state representatives. It's educationfreedomact.com.
This ad is paid for by Job Creators Network.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Our number here, 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. Well, the question here is, has this been a week or has it been a year? Look at everything that Donald Trump has accomplished in this brief 7-day period since he's been president again. Oh, can I say it? President Donald Trump? Not former President Donald Trump. Not President-elect Donald Trump. President Donald Trump. Oh, my goodness. And look, if you want to see him in all his glory, he was out in Los Angeles on Friday, and he just took it to the incompetent mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, whose policies really exacerbated the fire problem out there. So here we go. Let's go with this. Clip one, Trump and Karen Bass in this exchange.
6 months is no good. And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe. And we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked,
signed
I
an
mean, you have a very
emergency
powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
Pause it here for just a
yes.
moment. Pause it. So she's lying. Because this was Friday, and my friend Joel Pollack was there. He's the Breitbart editor, and he lives in the Palisades area. And he actually stuck around and, you know, with like buckets of water, saved his house. Our buddy John Kahn at Breitbart wasn't so lucky. His house wasn't saved. But Joel and others say, look, this is not true. What you're saying, we can't go back there yet. So let's continue with this clip, this dialogue, Trump and Bass.
But you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing. And I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them. Everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
Yeah, so let me pause here. So Trump, this is Trump being Trump, which is, let me tell you what his secret power is. He's a terrific listener. I know this because I've interviewed him several times. I've watched him. He listens very closely. These were people that wanted to go in and start clearing out where their houses used to be, clear out the lots that they own. He listens. This is where he's different from all the Democrat bureaucrats who don't listen, who want to tell you something and that's not consistent with reality. Now, the other thing about Trump on this thing, he was giving it to Joe Biden, just totally giving it to him. We got this clip. He told a joke about Joe Biden, and it's kind of funny. Here we go, clip 2.
Some of the very bad things, and bad things were happening, and now there's light not only over America. I've heard it from even our enemies. They call up and they say, sir, we hate you. We do hate you, but there's light over the world right now. They hate me. Some of them hate me. If they liked me, you got a problem, right? They like Sleepy Joe. What's not to like? You know, they'd call up. It's funny. I was told today by one of the big leaders of the world, would call for a telephone call with the President of the United States a year ago, and they'd say, we'd like to speak with, who is this? It's the head of Germany, the head of, it's, name it, the head of France, the name of any country, it didn't matter. He would never pick up the call. They'd say, he'll call you back in 2 months. 2 months. Yeah, it's his schedule. He's extremely busy sleeping. No. Macron of France, he'll call you back in 2 months. So 2 months comes along and there's no call. They say, he didn't call. The stories are, I mean, these stories are not very exaggerated. I want to tell you, they're a little bit for laughter, but, you know, it's only for laughter. The fake news will say, oh, he exaggerated. It was only 1 month, you know.
Okay. So Trump, the comedian, I mean, even his enemies have got to concede this guy is non-stop action, get it done. It's great. All right. When we come back, it'll be time for the Tennessee Bonus Hour. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy, back with Crom Carmichael after this.